the AUKUS alliance, which in 2021 was formed between the United States, Australia, the UK, and there was a commitment to develop, especially Australia's capacity in terms of nuclear submarines. Now the United States is gearing to finally give, I mean, it's 2023 now, finally give Virginia class submarines to Australia to begin the process of developing. I mean, this is going to be an incredibly expensive endeavor for Australia. They're going to massively expand their military budget, already have been, to counter the so-called China threat. But still, years down the road, it seems like, for these nuclear submarines to ever be, first of all, developed by Australia and then deployed in any kind of meaningful way. What do you make of this development? Because China, of course, is furious. A lot of Indonesia also made a statement saying this is absolutely opposed to the principles of non-nuclear proliferation. What is your take on this latest escalation and where it fits within this row that the U.S. and the collective West have been building up with China?
It's more of exactly the same. This is what the U.S. does everywhere. So they're using Ukraine as a proxy against Russia. They're obviously cultivating separatism in the island province of Taiwan to use that against the rest of China. And they're also in Australia, and they're cultivating Australia as a armed, belligerent proxy against China. And again, when you look at who China's largest, most important trade partner is, by far is China. The United States will never be able to serve as an alternative for the economic connections and opportunities China offers Australia. So who is the United States arming Australia to fight against? Their largest trade partner. Why would China disrupt that militarily when they're benefiting so much from this relationship in terms of economics? And then Indonesia and other nations in the region, they understand that most of their trade is taking place in Asia. And so if the United States manages to create some sort of conflict or even tensions and destabilizing the region, that's going to affect the economy of every single nation in the region. And again, that is the goal the United States has. It's not just China surpassing the U.S., it's all of Asia rising and surpassing the whole of the West. So they're interested in destabilizing and leveling to the ground all of Asia, if they can get away with it. And apparently Australia is very eager to do this. I mean, there are former politicians, there are political activists in Australia fighting against this, but of course we all are aware of the momentum and the scale of the propaganda machines operating all across the West, and Australia is no exception. Absolutely. I mean, that's the point to make, that this isn't uncharted territory where Australia is headed. And I think their economy has already suffered because of this irrational belligerence that they are adopting against China. They already have. But the EU is taking it to the extreme, and they're showing Australia where their future lies. But also, I think Ukraine is kind of giving a little glimpse into the future of how far this can go if Australia allows it. And the problem is, and Caitlin Johnstone wrote a really good article in Consortium News about this, about how Australia essentially fears the United States more than, if obviously doesn't fear China at all. They're not worried about China. They're worried about the United States because nothing that they're doing serves their best interests by going along with the U.S. They're quite it's hard to say, because when you listen to some of these Australian politicians talk, they seem very eager to go along with this. But there would be consequences if anyone came along and tried to oppose this. And again, just look at Germany. The U.S. was placing sanctions on German and other European companies involved in the Nord Stream 2 construction. And the U.S. went as far as literally blowing the pipeline up to stop that. What would they do to Australia? How far would they go with Australia to ensure that it went down this path of playing proxy for the U.S. against China? It's scary to even think.